What is up, everybody, and welcome back to week one of the EGFC CSGO League. We are coming back from that quick 2-minute break, and we're about to jump into the second game between Villanova versus Marquette. Of course, to break it all down for you is myself, Los, and of course, we got my man Viking on the mic.
Great to be here. Very excited about this. This is one of those matchups that, as I was looking at the week one schedule, I was most excited about. It's a Big East matchup between Villanova and Marquette. Marquette probably being our most experienced team across the league in terms of how long they've been playing together, as well as what their general skill level is by the traditional measures. Villanova is sitting closer to their rank than a lot of the other teams that we've seen, some of the ones that we saw earlier on this stream, as well as over against Maris and Niagara happening on EGFC CSGO. So very excited to jump into this and see how things are going.
Yeah, we're going to be going to Inferno. That is our first map of this series, and the second one will be Nuke. So excited to see two fresh new maps on this docket. Something I wanted to point out, if we were talking about the skill level. Well, maybe this isn't about the skill level. This is just about the good nature of Villanova from the media day. They said one quote. We are excited to get to know our opponents and experience this shared love among everyone, which will make this an enjoyable time for all. That is the most heartwarming thing I've ever heard about a competitive league in my life.
Yeah, I was just saying, it sounds like your typical CS player, right? It's
Oh
no
yeah,
problem. Love to see it. So we're gonna kick it to the game in progress and see how we're doing in the first couple of rounds. First
well,
round, excellent.
already jumping into the action, making a push onto B, and they're taking site quite quickly. It's Akateg making that push back through dark, and they have site control at the moment. The bomb will go down, and now both players are trying to get through onto site from CT, and a first nice little one tap from Akatag again. They're gonna have to hold it back down as Jersrich, just Rich, makes their move onto site, jumping into Fountain, trying to get an angle. And I think they can get it if they get this shot right. No, it's going to be Akateg again with the third frag of the pistol round. Marquette off to a nice start.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, I think we might be switched on the sides a little bit. So we'll see that come back in a minute as we get our overlay to come back because our HUD is, just having all sorts of fun and interesting times on its own today. So we're just going to see how this rush down mid comes down with the CTs trying their best to take advantage of the fact that they've got a really aggressive spirit.
Okay, well, it actually paid some dividends with one kill. One kill is going to be good enough. I loved that strategy, just sending so many nades down. You know, maybe they're probably not going to win it. They know going into that round it's going to be forced by. They're going to have the better weapons. They just say, send it. Send it.
Exactly. So again, Nova's on the T side with Marquette on the defending side this time around, trying to get as many rounds as you can off of that early eco buff. And right now, again, dealing with a mild eco, we've got those deagles on the side of Marquette, just kind of seeing what they can take off. We definitely can see those being very dangerous, especially on this map where you've got some long shooting gallery places in both mid and banana. So we'll see if they can get a couple picks, especially because on the T side, they're currently just stacked up in T apartments, seeing what information they can do.
We got some Deagle Demons potentially. Alter is looking for an alternate angle, but just Rich is the first one to fall. Here's a good moment. It's not one, but two from Alter. Can he get a third? No. Almost escaping with their life. They will fall eventually, and Alter dropped by Irish Ram. They're going to get that bomb down. The bomb will be planted, but what? Coming through with the Deagle finesse, it's going to be Villanova taking it back and having some great weapons to push through into round 4. Picking up some AKs. Wow, what a turnaround.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure what to expect when we saw that first Deagle shot missed coming out of porch, but the back there, you saw that jumping Deagle at the end. That was a pretty great moment for the side of Marquette. So now, like you said, we have the momentum kind of switch back in the other way, where suddenly the T's get that nice signing bonus for closing out so well, and they're going to see the first time we see an op on this map.
And op over to Alter. Looking down mid, doesn't find anything quite yet, doesn't want to get too risky with it. He do have that major investment, not trying to lose sight of it so quickly. Kanye West is up in apartments, taking a look down mid boiler, seeing if he could find anyone trying to push up, and he might find somebody soon if they make that commitment.
Yeah, you saw a little bit of that aggression early in the round towards the B side and Banana, and that kind of looks like where at least the majority of the Nova players are going right now. They're creeping up, trying to get some of those efforts. They're going to run into looks like Jursic on that cross position, and maybe they're going to commit to it now that they see the bomb coming over.
4 players moving up Banana. A smoke is going to be sent out as well as a molly to deter their push, and they will have to back it up. But there are 2 players over by mid still, so they have the option to try and push through, but that will show them that Internet gets hit with the op. They know that the enemies are there, and there's still a potential as Kanye tries to get that swing, but it's no good, and they're giving up an AK, a big switch over for Migs.
Really seems like there's a little bit of confusion as to what their strategy is across this, as they kind of went from one side to the other. Seeing a little bit of aggression out of them now, going towards committing to that A site with only 20 seconds left, so we'll see how that goes.
It's Migs holding it in the corner. He's going to find 1, 2, but doesn't get the third, as Rem V from Apartments is going to get that shot down and secure the second round for Marquette.
It was a little tough when, again, you're making that last element not just against the other team, but also the clock. They made the right choice by, committing to something with less than 30 seconds on it. Sometimes that works out on your favor, especially if you've been showing different looks the entire round. It was a little bit tough because we saw them get a little bit stuck in that mid round with not a lot of movement from either Banana or the mid position. And when we saw some of those very early picks, obviously it becomes a pretty problematic challenge. And even now, when they're just on pistols and they're hoping to get something out of it, they seem to be kind of in the same position.
Well, they have slow rush, slow commitment. There's multiple in Banana, but they just aren't making any strong decisions yet. They're just trying to see if someone will make a aggressive push here so they could pick somebody out and then make a full-on rush to the site, whichever slips up first.
It's looking like they're going to have to try to bait somebody out to get any hope of that. You see Kanye West up here with the Deagle and armor, the only one that had bought anything on their team, just looking for any sort of pick. But we're not seeing any movement from Marquette whatsoever coming out into any position. So they're trying to bait out with some of those shots to try to get something to happen, but not seeing a lot of movement.
Yeah, Remby is waiting for him, finds both of those, and there's a third player in the smoke. I don't know if he knows. He's sending it out. He's trying to get some shots on to anybody who's there. And actually, they will get 1 frag over onto Migs. He's trying to swing around from Library. He isn't going to be good as Rem buys another one. I believe that's 4 kills in that round. A huge round for him, holding it down from the upper apartments and keeping his team safe, especially from that player flanking around. That could have been an op lost, and that's not what you want to do.
Yeah, great for the bank, great for the morale there. Remy coming through that such a strong thing, puts him up at 12K, able to buy across it. Obviously, there's no concerns about kind of tightening their belts economically speaking. But now as the T's come back with a little bit more utility and a little bit more equal in terms of their loadout with a first off from their side, I believe. Great shot from Kanye West, getting into this into a 4v5.
Yeah, and most of the team is over by. He looking for that banana push. They want to split everybody up, but at this point, Marquette isn't seeing too much of a stronger push, so they're not going to rotate anyone over to that position because most players are pushing up now, trying to get onto site. Tubby Muffin finds the first, and site is clear. They have to go through construction and clear everybody out. Right now, Graveyard is a bit of a problem, and they do clear it out. Yes, Akatig is the one to help them out. Now there will be that rotation. Keep an eye on number 7. Holding it, and they get it. It's Internet who stops that rotation from CT. And Migs knows that this is an unwinnable situation and is opting for the save.
Smart choice by Migs. They obviously are in pretty good economic position, but there's no reason to feed more guns than they need to. Just throwing that off. Nobody can come for this. It's never going to happen. So as we go into the next round, we'll see still a pretty strong buyout from the CT side. Certainly nobody's in a position where they're going to be hurting for what they probably want to move towards. The T's are obviously happy to get that bomb money as well as win the round and see a little bit more come out of it. So great execution overall. little bit of a struggle in some of those 1v1 battles around Church, but ultimately ending up in Villanova's favor, able to bring the rounds back to 3v3.
Yeah, things are looking good at least for this temporary nice round for Villanova. You know, the economy is still good on the side of Marquette, but if you keep pushing them like this, if you keep draining them of money and cash by taking these rounds, things could switch up. But look at this aggressive play here. He's got the AK out. He's got to pull it out. He finds one, but he will be traded out by Mandalore. That could have been an insane situation if he managed to pick up both of those and swing it out over into mid. Kwanye wanted to go big, but all he got was a bullet in his chest. Now this is a 2v3. Things aren't looking good after Villanova took that first round. They got to somehow bring it back. But they're in a poor position right now, moving through T-Apps. There's no one really there to stop them from moving. If they could catch somebody out or even just sneak on through, they might have sight because it's completely empty.
Yeah, it looks like one of the Marquette players have caught on to what they're doing and starting to move through apps, so they have to be careful and make sure that they're watching their backs. They're planning for apartments, which has not gone in their favor.
Oh.
An easy cleanup from Marquette there, but certainly a good thought. I mean, the fact that they got the bomb down was certainly a good outcome. Obviously, a win would have been significantly better, but at least they had a couple of those winning positions, especially you get a little nervous when as a T you're forced back to T ramp and you have two CTs sitting on either side watching from banana and mid as close as they were. That's just a really difficult angle to win from any time. So the fact that they were able to kind of read that situation, move through apartments so quickly, jump out, get the bomb down, didn't get a chance to really set up for the post plan as they didn't really seem to acknowledge or expect that they would be seeing somebody from balcony there. At least something came out of it, and they're still able to buy this round, although their utility is much, much lighter than they probably would be comfortable with in this map.
Oh, those two nades are really hurting Tubby Muffin, and Akatag got chunked trying to push up Banana, so this might make it even more difficult, but look who's rounding that corner. If they can get this peak, this might spell a good fortune for them. Tubby Muffin with the first one with the MP5S. Now they got to keep it going, keep that momentum. There's only Mandalore on the site. He misses the shot. He gets blinded, running back into dark, and he's keeping his life for now. The instant goes out, but it might have hit the smoke, so it won't be as useful as they would hope, but it will actually catch Irish Ram. Now it's all up to Tubby Muffin and Kwanye, who do have sight. Actually, it's only Tubby Muffin who has sight. Kwanye is still pushing through Banana, but this might catch them off guard. Here comes the smoke. Will it block anyone off? I don't know if it's going to be coming in time because they want to retake this site quickly, but he doesn't look in the back. Even though Tubby Muffin had the advantage with that first peek, Miggs is going to get that shot off first. Both players in construction and graveyard. What is Kwanye going to do?
It's Kanye best.
Let's hope, but it won't be enough.
It's a rough corner to come around and get smacked in the face with, but I appreciate the hustle. It would have been obviously better to have two people on that site, but they made some good efforts in terms of their utility use, like you put out, making sure that they were getting that cross covered. They were able to put the flash towards coffins to try to get that. Ultimately, just ended up losing that 1v1 battle between the two. So we're back in this position where they're taking the timeout. I am curious as to what Marquette is talking about at the moment, since Nova is the one a little bit on the back foot at this moment, but maybe they're going to do something really cool.
You know, I think it might be just considering strategy like, hey, that could have been cleaner. That could have been a better hold. They might be reconfiguring their site holding, you know, see who's holding what, might be switching around some players, or maybe just coming up with the best aggressive play of all time, sending it once again down mid and destroying not only the enemy team, but also their morale. Or maybe not. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, it's kind of interesting because you can see with the aggression that a CT can start to press in this is a combination of putting people off of their game and not being in a position to ever set up for anything, because utility is such a huge impact on this map. You can't really go even think about going into A on the porch side without having a smoke into pit, or at least some sort of utility to clear out some of those areas, because there's just so many angles to clear. So if you're able to put them off their game, force them into positions where they have to use their utility all the way back in, T ramp or something like that, you have a huge advantage. And because of some of that aggression that we saw earlier, it's totally feasible to expect that something like that might happen again. And it's also a great way to, put a little bit of disrespect into the air and make sure that your opponents know that you're very, very confident in what you're happening. But it also leaves some of those openings, as we saw in that round where they were set up around T ramp, and Nova was able to outflank them and get that bomb down into that other area. So who knows what's going to happen? But we're about 10 seconds from the round starting, so I guess we'll find out pretty shortly.
Well, whatever the strategy is, I don't think it will take too much to bring down Villanova in this round, at least. This is an eco. We do have a few Deagles on hand, as well as a Tech 9. So maybe they could get something, pick up some nice eco frags. That could be useful. Convert it into a rifle kill, who knows? But this push will not come up through Banana. They ensured that. Mandalore with the aggression over on Cart. He's gonna come back for another and gets a third even. An altar over down mid just puts this round in the dirt with ease.
It was a good choice on peak. I feel like they probably sniffed out the fact that the T side was already pretty low on their economy. They're probably going to see at best a late eco, as we saw there, and that is a great way to push out a little bit, put a little bit of that utility down Banana, double peak from mid and Banana, and make sure that you're taking off as many as quickly as possible, and not getting outrushed by potentially a group of people with Tech 9s.
Ooh, narrowly missing that frag. It's going to be Internet taking a hit off that HE. But a bit of a swap around. We're seeing that Alter going away from B. Originally helping out over there, but won't make a strong commitment. But they will make a commitment on the side of Villanova. Have the AWP ready for a shot if anyone peeks out by Church, but it won't happen. Going to just keep a slow aggression, if that makes any sense. They are showing their presence. They're letting them know on the side of Marquette, like, we're here, but we're not coming off the site just yet.
It's fun to watch the mini map as you kind of wonder if anybody's going to pull a rotation or if there's going to be anything like that. But the area around A hasn't changed at all in like 20 seconds. Now with a little bit of movement in alt mid, but you had all of Marquette's teams sitting up exactly in those positions on corner, around porch in the wagon area, and around balcony. So there still is not a lot of movement, but it does seem like Villanova is preparing for that final push onto the B site.
Okay, Mandalore by Coffins. He knows someone's there. He doesn't want to peek. They're playing it super cautious because this could be a very deadly move. But now we see that Alter is making that rotation, and these guys are making their push onto the site. Mandalore shooting through the smoke, finds the first kill, finds a second, trying to spray through the smoke, but it doesn't make a connection. The site now fully cleared, pushed back into Coffins, into construction. They're holding it down, and they do get the plant off. Sending through an HE. Doesn't make a connection, but it does. Oh, that's not the best flash, but it is okay. No harm done with that one. Now Sight might be taken back a little easier than they thought, with Mandalore finding one, going for a second over into Dark, finds a second one, will be traded out before the third, and Migs is there to clean it up. 7-round victories going over for Marquette.
That was a tough post-plant situation, seeing that that initial 1v2 trade and still having someone sitting in churches, still spraying through the smoke, still being a threat, and then being able to back up and retake with the rest of their team is not the ideal situation that you want to start off a post-plant situation with. And it came through in a position where if some of those nades had come out a little bit earlier, like we saw that Molly that went towards the CT spawn, if that had been maybe 3 seconds or even 2 seconds earlier, you might have had a situation where the person that was playing in front by grill area would have been able to take off a little bit more. But now we're in a situation where we're back to that kind of default setup and seeing if Villanova can get any reads on where everybody's sitting.
Might be an apartments play. It does look like a lot of these players are centered around A site, which we have been waiting for a good take on A for quite some time. The flash goes out and it goes for an up peak. Doesn't manage to land it. It does take some bullets instead, and multiple players jumping up into the apartments, but they need some pressure elsewhere. Because as you can see, there's a bit of players pushing up over from B side. They may look for a rotation. I believe number 7, Internet, trying to make sure that doesn't happen.
I definitely thought that was through the wall for a second, but no, it was Alter getting a shot on the other side.
Now they're making their push over onto A site. Internet, the first one to swing around. He knows someone is in pit, but he doesn't look behind as Migs is pushing through the smoke and finds 2 and even 3, and that's bombed down. Rem, with that final pickup, hanging out by Porch, gets it done pretty easily.
Saw Migs put on his best Stewie 2K impression there. Just push through that smoke with no fear, pick up that 3K, and just clean up everything so easily off of what I'm sure Villanova was hoping was going to go a different direction. But that puts us on an 8-3 score line. And as we start to think about the second part of this map, CT again typically favored on how we go there, so we'll see some of the comfort there. But Alter and Mandalore are just doing work on those ops right now.
Here comes another eco round. Got some Deagle Demons in the server. Can they make this commitment over on to be fruitful? 2 players waiting. Actually, yeah, just 3 on B site. Oh no, I can't count. It's just 2. But now make it 3. As finally Alter will make this wraparound for that assist, that rotation coming through, and even keep in mind on Banana, they're about to be pinched in just a few moments, but they won't even have time to be flanked as Just Rich jumping up and getting those frags, taking them down, no problem. Only 2 more rounds in this, or actually, sorry, a few more rounds in this half, and it's looking very good for Marquette right now.
They feel like they've really come into their comfort zone and everything that they've been doing. We saw, again, most of Villanova's wins came very early in the half. So part of that was, doing really well in the pistol round, seeing some of those 1v1s go better in their way. But since then, Marquette has been incredibly disciplined, making sure that they're not peaking where they don't need to. When they are getting into those 1v1 situations or where they feel very comfortable, as we saw Migs do 2 rounds ago with that push through the smoke. They're very comfortable. They know that their team is there to back them up. And Nova's just kind of in this position where, they're seeing they're trying to give different looks, but they're just running into situations where they're not getting the frags they need to make these.
Perhaps not the best jump over through that molly, but it did allow one player to flank around and get that initial kill onto Remv, but that was not a very successful round for Villanova. That was not a well thought out one, I have to say.
Yeah, it's a little tough on this map, especially the way things they've been going to kind of commit to that, execute the way that they did, because it's so easy to get some of that counter utility, as you saw at the top of mid initially. And as they got through, they just, had some issues with their guns being out, their nades being out in the wrong position or not being able to quite get things out. Oh, but Migs maybe pushing through the smoke, kind of feeling that they're going to come up through that A position.
He's holding that angle. He knows. We could see the X-ray. It's right on the head of this one player, and he looks around. Internet, no! Can't be looking away once the smoke is dissipating. That's the worst possible opportunity for that to happen. Now we know Kanye West knew somebody was over there, and they know one more player is hiding down in pit. They have to clear it out. Jumping up through the barrel, or the hay bales, they see it. And Kanye West wins it out as Alter only had 4 HP. Around the corner. Oh, Kanye just trying to make that hero play, but it's not coming through.
It could have gone easily the other way. I think we missed it on the POV feed, but in the kill feed, you could see Alter was sitting in the pit with 4 HP, like you said, getting two kills coming out of apartments and not seeing any punishment for that at all, and almost taking out Kanye in that last moment, if not for that just pistol play. So huge ups for Marquette, making the best out of every HP point that they have.
Oh no, Viking, that wasn't even a save round. They just rushed all the way up through Banana and mid and decimated Villanova with that final round.
Seen a lot of Marquette really dictating the pace of this half, and now it seems like Nova would not be a bad idea for Nova to take a timeout here and try to just shut down a little bit of that mental momentum, and try to get to a point where they feel a little bit more comfortable about the positions that they're about to take up. So Nova now on the CT side, about to take over for the first time in the pistol round. We'll see if they're able to take some of these long-range kills.
Well, let's see what they use with their utility. Some smokes out, a flash as well. And Altair will lead the charge. Nobody is there to face them, though. They're all backing up. They're all playing their lives and potentially going for the retake. But flanking around in Library, it's Migs. Migs is fearless, and now they're not even going to play for A. They're going over to B through CT. What are these guys doing? They're just messing around. They're just having fun. And Migs already knew someone was going to try and push through library, waiting with the headshot onto Tubby Muffin. And it's all up to Internet pushing through Banana, but he's going to actually pick up not one but two headshots quite nicely. But Migs is there. Migs is just a investigator for the headshots. He finds them all the time.
Yeah, really, really built different in that particular regard. I think in those early rounds, if you're going to show that aggression and you can do anything to really put people off their game, especially if you didn't have that break, you didn't have the opportunity to take that time out and just understand what's going to happen. It looks like Villanova is just going to be very aggressive onto the B site and see what they got there. I would have accepted maybe an Astrala stack, but it seems like they're just going into a hope.
A hope, and they're all stacked up on I wouldn't even say it's the wrong side because the bomb isn't there. The bomb isn't I believe anywhere just yet. Oh my, come on, man. RemV is just toying with these guys. They have site control, or they don't know who's truly on A just yet, but they have basically up to the point of control, and they're still messing around. They're still clearing other sites. They're just having fun in a DM right now.
It's a little rough. There's no doubt about that. I think Villanova looks like there's, spirit has been broken a little bit on this regards, just because you see such strong openings from Just Rich and not being able to find those crossfire moments to pick off some of those folks on the B site. And I don't even think they picked up the bomb the entire time that round. So they were just running through, knowing that they're going to be at an economic disadvantage and therefore have lesser equipment and just keep running through it. So I expect we'll probably see similar levels of progression coming out in this round as well.
Well, maybe they could somehow formulate a plan, but actually it's going to be Villanova who's pushing up, but they have the utility out when they first make that contact with Alter, who drops a nice bullet into the head of Akatag, and Irish Ram does manage to get one through the smoke. Nicely done. I mean,
Migs, so that's a key player gone off the map.
That is true. Tubby Muffin got a bit of a little stack right there. Does get a few shots off, sending over the HE. Doesn't manage to kill anyone, but around the corner is Tubby Muffin. He doesn't get that initial frag. Things are looking a little bit dangerous over for Marquette. 2 players left in a 2v4. Coming through.
A little less than 100 or 120 HP between them, and Remy still. Wow.
Oh my God, Remy, you're insane! Just sitting on top of their, mowing down Villanova as they're walking in. This is just unfair when you have both Migs and Remby on the server at the same time. Somebody stop these guys.
I think that's a great point to show that everybody on the Marquette side is a threat at some point. We saw that a couple rounds ago with Alter, again, being on 4 HP, similar to that situation, being able to do so much damage. And, oh, man, Reshiram just getting so much there, taking 2 out of the hands of the T's already and putting them at such a strong disadvantage.
That was a crucial play by Reshiram. That was huge. But now they're going to be fighting back. A little bit of the aggression got to their head as they continue to push the banana and lose their lives for it. Migs picking up 2. And now what was a huge advantage just became a disadvantage as Reshiram is the last one holding on to his life, looking to try and hold B as they make their way up banana. That's the bomb holder Alter. And actually, it will be just him over on site because Reshiram, he might be pushing through the smoke. Look to your right. He's got the bomb down. And now it's a 1v1 against Remby.
He's playing it like the game depends on it, as he should be in this very last round, map point, for Marquette. And now as he's sitting in churches looking for that Remy. Oh, Remy, so dangerous.
Sending it through the glass. He's got to turn around. You know he's coming for you. But actually, Reshiram, he keeps pushing. He might be going in for a flank. Oh my God, Reshiram, you are insane if you get this done. All the attention is being paid to the back of site. So he's got the bomb. He's going to keep clearing out. Finds no one in dark. Now the only option is to look to the left, and he does find it onto Reshiram. And that will end the first map. Marquette University winning Inferno 16-3.
That was such an awesome attempt by Reshiram there just to try to get something. and he had the right idea. The timing was just slightly off. And being at that disadvantage with health, especially when you know you're going up Remy, you call it a couple times where it's like he's so dangerous. So is Alter, and so is everybody else. But boy, that is a tough 1v1 to be, sitting on your shoulders, sitting at map point, and knowing that if you don't win this, your team's at a very strong disadvantage overall.
That is absolutely true. I mean, there were some times during this where they had some good plays. I think Reshiram fully came into his own, although it didn't pan out as well as we would have liked it to. Came into his own at the end of the map, picking up those two early frags with the flashbang that were crucial. But a bit of over reliance on that one led them to slip up because they thought, "Oh, we got some kills. We got to push it to the limit, push these guys to the edge because we have." Taking them by surprise. But that overconfidence in a minor system had caused them to fall. Even though Reshiram had picked it up a little bit toward the end, almost winning that out in an insane clutch. Moments like those are what make you a good team. But if you only do that one time out of how many rounds was that? 19? You
19.
you got to get more.
It was a challenge for sure, and I think some of the starkest contrasts between the two teams were in some of those situations. Going back to that same round, you saw if we were thinking about Marquette being on the CT side, getting a similar type, they probably would have retreated a little bit. Their A players probably would have sat tight, expecting a rotation. And what we saw from the Nova side is they started to push out a little bit. They were looking for some of those picks and wondering if maybe the attention was going to be thrown towards Banana and they can get some of those kills. But instead, Alter sitting in the T ramp space started to get some picks in mid, and you started to see some of that advantage that Nova had built up, as you'd said, disappear very quickly, and you end up in these very tight situations where, with a little bit more conservative play, you might not have had run into those types of situations. And it makes me a little bit worried for the sake that we get into Nuke, because as we're dealing with a map that has significantly higher potential for things like flanks, tons of spam spots, lots of angles and places where you can get picked off from any number of locations. That's definitely going to put Marquette in the advantage. And not to mention, it is their map choice. So we should expect to see a pretty dominant performance with Nova really trying to pull something out of that.
Yeah, unfortunate for Nova to have Inferno be their map pick, and that is how the scoreline ended up. But like we were saying before, Marquette is looking to be one of the stronger teams in this league. In fact, I believe they mentioned that they have players on their roster who are masters at specific maps. Like that is what their roster is with all their substitutions. They have two core or three core players with two subs for each map that they decide to do. So this is a well-oiled machine we're working with. This is a squad that knows exactly what they're doing, exactly what they're going to get into with each and every map, and it truly shows how their formation has worked out.
Yeah, it's definitely something that shows across all of the teams that are playing in this league and in this season. Marquette, it was one of the only ones that we talked to that had a roster that had been together for a period of time. I think they said that for the most part, except for one freshman, I believe, all of them have been together for almost the last 2 years. They obviously, as we saw there, had a lot of practice in the mechanics and a variety of the things that you kind of expect to see from a team that had played together at that level for so long. So now, as we go into Nuke, I'm sure that they're going to switch out some personnel, as you mentioned. Having some of those specialized personnel packages for the scenarios that they're going to encounter. So this, I want to give Villanova the benefit of the doubt, being able to come through this and give us an incredible match. But it's definitely going to be quite a mountain for them to climb.
Surely, but this team is built for fun, so it might be a nice, lovely hike for them as they make their way up this mountain. I mean, who knows? It could be their map. They may have chosen Inferno, but they did have some good opportunities, even though they lost it. So if they could capitalize on those good opportunities that they find themselves in, a similar story that we saw with Sienna, they had some good moments, they had some good opportunities, but it just didn't pan out the way that they would hope for. So this is a good time for them to really get a feel for real competition, as this is their first step into this sort of thing.
Yes, I'm very excited to see if we can find those sparks of hope, kind of like we did in our first map, where Sienna, found their footing in the first couple of rounds of Vertigo, started to claw back, give us a pretty good shows before ultimately falling to their opponent. But when you're dealing with a team like DePaul or Marquette, as we're seeing here, uh, you're really thinking about strategically long term, as we talked about after the first match. Try to get as many rounds on the board, even if you're losing. It's kind of like an F1, right? You may not take first place, but you can take one of those midfields. The more points you get, the better position you're going to be for the postseason. And while we're many weeks and several months away from talking about championships, it's still great to start, game planning through some of those because it's much easier to deal with that now than to try to dig yourself out of that hole as you get into the start of, say, the spring split, which starts all the way in February.
Of course, you got to play for the here and now. There's plenty of time to improve. Just take what you could learn from the immediate game, the immediate lessons. There's still plenty that um, Nova can learn from this matchup. There's been so many opportunities where Marquette had showed an extreme aggression, where if they just played it back a little bit, they would be okay. Just play your angles, play it safe. Even when they were attacking, so many opportunities for them to capitalize on an unnecessary push, an unnecessary peak. And while they were playing it safe many times over on A site, B and Banana, always somebody out there peeking. So if they could just wait for them, get the pick, get the aggressor out of the way, pick up a rifle if you're on a save. You can play around Marquette. It's possible.
I agree. I think I would anticipate, just sort of based on some of that experience, or sorry, excuse me, some of the aggression that we saw from Marquette in Inferno, given that Nuke has a ton of strategies where you can just roll over people if you really get that going. We'll see some of those, like, classic nade down vents going into the upper site and to lower, potentially as early as the first round. Probably going to see a lot of outside movement, just kind of rolling over, knowing that depending on where Internet ends up playing, because we know that they are one of Villanova's stronger players. They have those different options to just rush in and overwhelm and make sure that they really put their foot down and kind of set that tone early to ensure that there isn't any opportunity for Villanova to get their feet under them, the same way that we've seen with some of the other folks.
I'm interested to see how we're going to have op play when it comes to pushing outside. We have seen Alter on the op a few times around, but what can we do, or what can Villanova bring to the table using that weapon? I want to see more of that.
Yes, certainly more than hopes and prayers. We'll see some great shots, and it seems like Villanova is opting for the trickier version of life, maybe in the next round.
Ooh,
We're
some
just
nice little
evolving into
backstabs.
chaos. Oh,
Mandalore's
excuse me,
got him in a
Marquette.
corner, and Internet's gonna fall. And now, sides have been decided.
We'll see where do they end up. Villanova on the T side. All right, cool. That could potentially put them at a pretty significant disadvantage, as we kind of saw once Marquette settles into some of those positions. It's pretty hard to continue on it, and I want to believe that Villanova has a very deep map pool and is prepared for Nuke. But as they're going into this first round, it's a tough ask.
Yeah, well, they're running through lobby, and it's going to be an aggressive pushback from Miggs as well as Just Rich. But Akatig, he's holding his own. He's trying to stay
Oh
alive,
no.
but actually a flank from Remvi. Oh, with the knife to send him home. Oh, unfortunate.
That was a rough round. You saw a couple of those moments where you started to believe, but then when people get greedy and start putting out knives, you can put yourself in a kind of a weird position where suddenly there's a little bit of hope, but ultimately got closed out as expected by Marquette in that first round. So now this Villanova timeout, I'm hoping to see a little bit of some breath of fresh air, some talk about strategy. How are they going to play this round? Given that they do have enough money to force if they wanted to. But in this case, when you're dealing with rifles, which I don't know if they would expect Marquette to have quite as many as they do at this point, it might be kind of a tough investment to make. So I would encourage them to full save here, try to get into a better buy next round, and try to put their best foot forward when they ultimately do make that choice.
Interesting that Villanova is going to utilize now to take a timeout rather than in the previous map over on Inferno when, it made more sense to take a timeout right in the beginning of Nuke is it's interesting. I don't know why they would do it.
I really don't know. Maybe they just wanted to spend some more quality time with one another before they really launched into their offensive. We see a couple of smokes coming out. That looks like they put Armor and a Deagle onto Restroom, but he does not have the bomb, so they're probably trying to look at that as a more of an offensive opportunity to get some of the picks. Try to get something, maybe some of those one digs off of some of those rifles, and bring something to light there. But otherwise, we're seeing pretty minimal investment from the rest player, which is, if you're going to go with any sort of economics, that's, I guess, the right compromise. But it's a challenge across the board, given where they're at right now.
Something to keep in mind is that if you look over onto Marquette's side, number 5, Prod, has replaced Alter. So this is what we were talking about, how they have different players for each different map. Let's see if Prod has those skills over on Nuke to really show why he's this main player.
And there's that aggression towards the outside. All the smokes trying to do some work, trying to keep everybody honest. And Mandalore already picking off people through the smoke. 2 headshots already is going to be a pretty damaging opportunity for them to even think about getting the bomb down.
Pushing through Secret, they're gonna find Migs waiting for him. Gets 3 with that, Famous. Well, they gave it their all, I guess. I'm not sure if the timeout really created that strategy.
For what they tried, with the situation that they were in, that's probably the best bet that they had, because there's so many opportunities for choke points coming out onto the upper site, going into ramper or anything like that, where you can just get mowed down. So at least to their credit, they made it into Secret. They almost had an opportunity, but when you're stealing, when you turn that corner and there's Migs staring you back in the face, that's a pretty rough place to be.
Okay, we have one player in Hut. Oh, no, Tubby Muffin. He knows that Just Rich is hiding up in heaven, but it's not going to be good enough. But Kanye West finally going to have a frag over for that squad. And there's another one from Internet. If they could look above Hut, there is one player hiding, but Internet doesn't see him yet. Oh, there it is.
Overall, still a net positive. You still have an incredibly dangerous player with 2 HP, and we've seen Marquette in several situations, very low HP players coming back and making the difference in the round. But it is a very difficult thing to imagine 2 HP being enough against 3 Ts now with the bomb down.
Well, Migs has 2 HP, 2 flashes. Should be enough to clutch this one out, right, Viking?
I mean, it is Migs, right? So I expect we'll probably just see them take up a position, be ready to take some exit at this point based on how slow he's moving. So not enough time to get to the bomb by any means. So we'll go into that next round. And to Villanova's credit, they bring the score to 2-1. They win a pretty convincing rifle round in how they were there. And other than that slight misjudgment by Internet not looking at top of Hut, expecting they did cleared entire sites, that was a clean round.
Oh, here's the potential. Actually, no, they're not going to leave Secret. They don't want to give up any opportunity for AK to be picked up or some exits to be found.
Smart choice. Conservative is a good word for how to play in that position, especially because their economy is not great. It's a little bit on par with both teams right now, but every AK is super important just because they're still they have players down to 50 bucks, and if they lose one of those, they're going to be in trouble. If they lose one of those, even going into the next round, and they're still playing from disadvantage.
Oh no, Prod through the smoke gets Kanye. Wanted to get something going on in control, but they are out of control, holding on to ramp right now. A unfortunate frag for Villanova to have to deal with, and they are not going to push through there. I mean, he's locking it down nice and tight.
It looks like the bomb is on top of Marshmallow right now, or are they in CT? Where are they right now? It's hard to tell by the mini map, but it seems like they have changed their minds in any case and are going back towards that inner lobby, where we'll probably see our next set of conflict as the CTs have started to move up and be more aggressive in those positions.
Migs holding it down by the Entrance to hut, and now he's making his way through into lobby, and he finds that first one while they're trying to go through Squeaky, and that does not work out too well for them. It's all up to Akate, who's found himself as the sole survivor, moving through control. Guess who's waiting for him? It's our friend Prod. He's got the angle, but he misses the shot. He gets some tags on him, but he falls down, and still going for that secondary duel. Akate does not land the shots. Prod finishes what he started.
That was a convincing round the other direction, where Marquette obviously knew that they had some issues in that last round, fixed them. Now we're back to a position where, while there is still AKs out on the side of Villanova, they're at a pretty significant disadvantage with 2 players on Deagles and not a ton of utility, but they're moving towards the outside a little bit more aggressively, so maybe they'll be able to catch a couple people off guard and make the best use of what they've got.
One player looking through Squeaky. Oh, a little tag over onto Mandalore. He's backing off over into Mini. Prod, you know the deal. You know he's over here in ramp, just waiting for anybody to come through. Mandalore swinging out from Mini after that flash, picks up Akateg, and there's one more player outside, and they will be taken down by Remy. Oh, smoke's coming through into Squeaky, but trying to shoot from lobby. Migs doesn't take any damage, or he does take a little bit of damage, but it's negligible at this point. They have nowhere to go. They don't know what to do. One in Squeaky, one by Hut, and now nobody.
It was a tough ask, and we knew that coming into this map for sure. But in that round especially, you just saw some very clean one-taps from the Marquette side as Villanova were trying to test that outside position, trying to find any sort of foothold. And then as Marquette started to slowly close in and envelop that inner lobby position, like you said, Villanova just didn't really have a place to go. And the way that they're playing inside is just really smothering and making it very difficult that if you're not getting some of these early picks, or as we've seen a couple times, losing somebody to Prod in that ramp position, they're going to be continuously on this uphill battle that does not have a lot of breaks in it.
If we're looking outside, you can see 2 players are slowly creeping up by Marshmallow, but now backing off. They don't want to make any unnecessary pushes because one player was chilling up on Marshmallow. And look at Prod, always holding it down over on ramp, finding 3, and that's bombed down right under his control. Switching to the USP. Doesn't want to get caught reloading, but now pulling out that AK again, has the molly, has time to reload, and it's giving the rest of his squad time to come through for the flank. Kwanye, I don't even know where he is right now.
There he is.
They didn't know where he was.
Through. Yeah, I expected him to be in control, as it seemed Marquette did, but he had made his way to Hut and just doing his best to get what he could out of it. But on a save round, an expected outcome for sure, especially if you're trying to take down Prod, who's been pretty solid in that anchor spot in the ramp room. So now we've got AKs back with an op for the first time, which I expect we'll probably see maybe going towards outside, although it seems like they miss spot, so they're kind of in a slower position. Oh, that's some heavy aggression.
Oh yeah, pushing all the way through Squeaky. Mandalore finds the first entry, and now he's gonna hold on, trying to get some support from Migs, even though he fell. They can't even push into lobby. They have to back out. There is one player above them. If they step by the ladder, that could be a good situation. Reshiram with that operator loses control of it, and this is not looking good so far. I mean, it's all up to Akatik to maybe pick up one. He does get that done nicely. However, sneaking around the corner, you had multiple players surrounding him, and there was no shot he was going to walk away with that one with his life, or even more frags.
Plus some echoes of Inferno and some of the things that we talked about with the aggression from Marquette on the CT side, keeping Villanova specifically sit towards that ramp area. Same type of thing here with lobby. They know that they have the better opportunity, and their timing is a little bit better in these situations, especially when you had to go back and rebuy as it appeared to be in that early round. So just those milliseconds in some cases of that timing allows Marquette to take such strong control of such advanced positions, where Villanova just ended up coming in one by one, got 1 or 2 kills overall, but still just losing one person at a time until inevitably the team fell.
Here's Internet making their way through Hut, always to get in that angle. Finally, it worked out well. They have an opportunity to push out over onto A. And the firing squad is trying to take out Mandalore. Finally, they do, but it cost them so much to get into that position. And now we're running out of sneaky or secret. It's Migs who's gonna keep this rampage going. It's a one-on-one. Oh my God, Renvi with the wall bang up. No way.
That was a pretty chaotic round. There was a lot going on there, and to Villanova's credit, they managed to make a great showing in those first places, in those first couple of moments, getting some of those clean kills, like you said. Internet getting that great angle coming out of Hut in the original place. Unfortunately, going immediately down to the mini player, or to the garage player, excuse me, and having to kind of rethink their approach as they push through. And that was just such a sick timing wall thing at the end there to close it out. I really love that about how Nuke has been redesigned since its very early days to give us those types of moments. So great moments from Marquette to see a lot going on. And I'm really curious as to whether Villanova going through this timeout is going to be able to find some answers.
Well, this is definitely a more appropriate timeout than after pistol round. But hopefully they can piece some good sets together. You know, it did work out well on that take. Unfortunately, the shots weren't there to take down Mandalore as he made that quick peek out from behind the vents. If they could take him down quicker, which I believe they should have, considering the crosshairs, the manpower that was focused on him, if they got him earlier, it would have saved them possibly the round.
Hmm. I'm really curious to see whether Restroom will be able to do something with this op. I think previously when we saw them, it was the round that they had to go back and rebuy something, and we ended up losing any opportunity to see sort of a strategy develop around that weapon because of that aggression from the Marquette side pushing into that inner lobby. So maybe this time around we'll see a bit of an op battle out on the outside with Remy sitting in that garage spot, trying to see what who wins out in that battle. And if that's the case, then they suddenly have a lot more options outside. I'd love to see them starting to come back around through like the lockers area and go up through heaven, start to get some of those kind of weird places that you don't expect. But Nuke has that really beautiful ability to devolve into that kind of chaos, where instead of on a normal map where you have sort of that T and CT line with an occasional flank, this is definitely one of those maps where you can create a lot of chaos getting into different positions and really taking off some of those weird flank angles that wouldn't be expected, as we've seen Marquette having done to Villanova so far.
Well, speaking of getting people out of position, oh my God, Remy, come on, give him a chance.
It's a rough opening, and Mig's coming up with the oh, hey, internet's coming alive.
That's what we like to see. Reshiram with the up. Oh, come on. There it is. Kwanye finishes off the spray successfully, but nobody checks up into heaven as there always is someone there. They have to figure out what to do next. Both players outside. If you go through that angle, you're gonna get taken down. Just Rich is waiting for Reshiram. He doesn't fully know where he is, but expects them to be on the outside of heaven. There they are. Gotta be looking for that angle. Reshiram. Oh, with the no scope.
Yeah, that's the angle. That's what we were talking about, baby.
He's got it. And now this just became a lot more doable. Reshiram can get this bomb down. Oh, a little bit of damage taken, but at this point, as long as you can get that bomb down and hold your angles, you have the op, you can do this. This is so winnable for Villanova right now. If you can clutch it out, it's all got to determine where players are coming from. You can see someone's pushing through vent. No, you gotta look away. There's your enemy.
Did he hit that?
I don't think so.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Oh no. There's the AG. Oh, it's gonna miss. He gets the shot up top,
Oh, no,
but he doesn't get the diffuser.
That's heartbreaking. That was, for all the chaos that happened there, that was a great moment from Reshiram to play it the way that he did. If the only adjustment that I would have liked to have seen out of there is because he knew that he had the op, obviously, to plant it in front of the stacks, just to make it a little bit easier for some of that post-plant defense. But all things considered, if that nade had been off by or been on by a couple more pixels, that could have been a very different outcome.
Absolutely, but this is just a horror story for Villanova trying to push out onto A because Heaven is just a firing range up top, but now they have an opportunity to get up through. They've cleared out Heaven, but we got another player coming through to hang out, and it's going to be Prod coming away from his home of ramp to swap into Heaven and pick up 2, all up to Kwanye. They know exactly where he is, sending the instant over onto him, but he does manage to pick up 1 before retreating and go for this angle off the squeaky. He gets taken down by Mandalore, though. It was a good opportunity, but they just seem to be lost over at Villanova. It was a great entrance, but it fell apart so quickly.
I think what we're seeing is just a general discomfort. And, again, if we're thinking about where a lot of these teams are in the league overall, as we were talking about before, we expect a lot of them to kind of have a couple core maps, which, your typical Dust 2, Inferno, and Mirage that we were talking about before. Nuke tends to be, it's a difficult map to learn. It's a very difficult map to master. And what we're seeing in some of these instances, like as they were coming out of Hut in that initial point, they seem to just kind of misjudge where feet were suddenly visible, and that is a great opening by Villanova. Sorry, I should have let you take that because that was amazing.
No, it's fine. The people need to know the story behind all of this, and right now Just Rich is behind these pillars, and he gets 1, might be able to pick up a second, and he does, and he clutches out the round. Just Rich with a great hold. They weren't even expecting him to flank around.
That is such a difficult thing to have to contend with as Villanova. You had such great opening kills in that outside position. You're up 5-3, and then having it just all disappear because, again, it seems like as they're coming into that upper position, they're just kind of misjudging some of those angles, what's visible, where they're at, and so on. And I think you can see just by what Prod did there with that smoke lineup, this is a map that they are very comfortable on.
Kwanye doesn't even see his death coming. Remy with a good op shot. Might find a second. And he does. The rest of the squad looking to make the move through control, but you know who the master of ramp is. It's Prod with the jump and headshot, and he's following through, pulling out the USP, and he's gonna take it all down. You can't enter his domain. This is where Prod lives. This is where he stays. Nobody can come through.
Wow. What a shot that was with the AUG. It's good to see lots of, things still holding true regardless of what round we're dealing with. So Nova trying to switch it up, trying to go a little bit more aggressive and up, getting met with that aggression from Marquette going back the other direction is not in their favor, and they're just losing these one-on-ones. They move around different corners, and it seems like it's going to be
Ooh, but Kwanye sitting up on top of that level is going to get 2, picks up the up, finds a 3rd, and now this is so doable. Mandalore, the last one alive, it's a 1v1. We've seen so many 1v1s for Villanova go south quickly, and this is a bad position. Mandalore on top of Hut, a place they commonly check or don't check, and leads to their destruction, but he's going to completely ignore A-Site, moving over to ramp, because Prod isn't there to make it a bad decision anymore. This is going to be a B take.
Smart choice by Kanye there, just trying to put a little bit of distance between the threat that where their position is. Try to give yourself a little bit of time, a little bit of breathing room to put whatever round you possibly can on the board. The danger, of course, with that is in the lower site, there's so many different places that you have to defend from, and there's not going to be a lot of time, and he may not even be able to look back at ramp. Oh no, the timing.
Oh my god, he gets it! Kwanye pulls out the quick scope and clutches it for Villanova. Such a crucial round by this man. I believe 4 frags to save the day. It's only the 2nd round they've taken, but it feels like a clutch finisher.
As I said before, Kanye West doing his Kanye best. And that was an excellent round, and definitely what Villanova needed. Any round at this point, any moral victory that they can bring, anything that's going to give them that confidence. And Tubby Muffin immediately rewarding that with that early round pick.
They've got some momentum now. Prod probably got angry that he couldn't hold down control. Oh, no. Probably got angry he couldn't hold control and wanted to push him back up. He made that way through control, but now it opens up ramp as a possibility. However, Just Rich is holding up. He's gonna go for the peak, but it doesn't work out. Tubby Muffin starts to reload. Does he get down before Remy has the op shot? And they just sneak away from it. Such good timing for them.
But they're on the prowl. They're right behind them. This is not going to be enough time for them to get comfortable or even get that plant down without immediately feeling that ramp pressure.
Better get ready. Someone's about to come through. Dude, double doors don't work out. Maybe. Shooting down Migs. He knows exactly where he is, but do they know where Rishrem is? Oh, they do. He gets spotted, taken down. Tubby gets one, but it won't be enough as the crossfire, the two angles he has to clear out, are spraying right back at him. That's going to be the 12th round over for Marquette. While it did feel good to see Villanova pick up a second, it will not be a third.
And now they're back to that position where money's a little tight, but they are still able to get an op on the board this time in Kanye, which obviously 2 rounds ago did wonders for them. So I'm sure that they're hoping for a similar type of result with a little bit more aggression, maybe towards the outside, or it looks like they're just going for a split pick.
Prod doing his thing. Learned his lesson from last time, pushing through and getting aggressive, that it doesn't always pay to be aggressive. You know, sometimes you got to play it back, wait for them. Reshiram over on Mini. Doesn't even expect Remy coming from the side with that op. Unfortunate. And he's going to hold on to that angle. Remy's not done yet. Peek again, he's asking. And Kwanye answers the call. Just Rich over on the other side, finding 2 kills of his own. The last boy over in Squeaky gets taken down by another snipe from Remy. The first half ending 13-2. Villanova looking to be in the same exact position as they were in Inferno.
It is absolutely a difficult place to be in, but it is Nuke. It is a map that it used to be, if you didn't get more than 10 rounds, there was a good chance you were going to lose. So while that has obviously changed dramatically since all these reworks, maybe they can channel that spirit, and we'll see Villanova take that CT side and, I don't know, pull something off. It's a miracle. I would love to see it.
Oh, here comes some players going through control. Internet working hard to find 1 and 2, but Prod there for the trade out, and he's got backup now with Ekeg or Atakag coming up, helping him out, and actually turns the tides of this battle. Migs finds himself all alone, backing up through control, doesn't even have control of the bomb, and now Reshiram wants to get some revenge, or rather, they're going to hold on to this. They don't want to make any sloppy mistakes. There's no point. You have yourselves in the lead of this round. Why give it up when you've had so many opportunities previously that you got to hold on to what you have now?
Absolutely. Whew. Man, every time I see Migs get into one of those situations, I hold my breath a little bit, just because we've seen them obviously in so many different situations just do an incredible amount of damage with sometimes very little to work with. So we now are back to a position where Marquette is at a slight economic disadvantage. Villanova can try to take best advantage of whatever's going on and see if they can get anything.
Ooh, a quick rush from Mandalore getting into the vents, but he actually goes through relatively unscathed and makes it onto B site without a hitch. The rest of the squad, though, might be lacking behind. They do have control of B site as well as the bomb coming through. They have the opportunity. Migs does have a little bit of health to his name, but they do have control of the site. Internet, though, with the first frag coming through on Just Rich, and now they're starting to collapse on him. Someone going down ramp. They're not going to check the corner. It's going to be Reshiram, and now there's an MP9 available here for Mandalore. It's a long-range fight for him to try and continue and take over and survive it, but, you know, it is possible for him to hold it down. I mean, the bomb is ticking. They have to get this done. They have to just push him. Do they even know where he is? Nobody's even taking that angle. Oh, Internet there with that headshot. And while they wanted to try so hard to get that win, Marquette does not walk away with it. And Villanova holds on to their weapons, thankfully.
Yes, I think the illustration there again of Migs having that moment where he starts to get a little bit of impact and those last couple of moments within the round, and you're like, oh boy, That's quite a bit of stuff going on. There's a lot happening. So Villanova in a great position to continue to take advantage of the economic differential, and there's already doing that with Kanye getting that first kill on Mandalore, and they'll be looking to hopefully take Migs off the board as well.
I mean, the deal with Miggs is if you're messing with Miguel, it won't end well. This player is absolutely insane and such a threat across the map. But, when they're dealing with a pistol, it's a little better to deal with. But Remy with the nice headshot over Akatig, that is going to hurt. But they still have control, but Miggs is still firing back. Finally, Reshiram puts that reign of terror from Miggs to rest. They're going to be okay. They do lose some rifles, but they survive the round. Thankfully for Villanova, this is a tough position for them to be in.
Absolutely. I am very excited to see just any momentum coming out of this. Again, we talked about this in other situations where the more comfortable you get going into those second rounds, the more we see some of those closer opportunities, better overall gameplay. And right now, Villanova obviously knows very, very well that they're 3 rounds away from this elimination, so they're doing their best.
Up over onto Tubby. Let's see what they could do. Oh, first initial trade coming through, but Akatig is holding it down. I believe from heaven. They're keeping it cool, but Remy snuffs him out. Flash going up. Doesn't make the connection they're looking for. And now it's an opportunity. Tubby Muffin coming through the up. Who's he going to find? There is one player on the bomb itself. If you can look down, just look down. You'll find him, but first you got to look at the corner as Kanye figures out the second. Villanova finally hitting their stride.
That was an edge of the seat moment where I did not know what was going to happen, but Villanova held it together. They got those 2 frags. They got their 6th round on the board. I'm impressed with where they're headed right now, and it may be Marquette that might, depending on this round goes, think about taking their first time out.
Still have rifles at the ready, and now they're making their play over to outside. A few players being sent, potentially going over to Sneaky. That vent play might be a nice pinch maneuver to make their way over onto B site. With the Molly, sending it out, trying to get anybody on Hut. That's something that should have been done over by Villanova, as that was always a threat. Remy taking down Internet, who's jumping down, but you got to look to Heaven too, because they are not going to stop shooting at you in Hut. They're holding it down. But more players have regressed over from B's, I believe. They're trying to get some multiple angles here, but the bomb with Miggs is on A. It was a fake.
Can they tell? It's hard to tell. It looks like there's one player is chilling over by Secret, trying to find their way into one of the stages. Oh no! Just missing some of those off angles where you don't necessarily expect them to be in that post-plant situation. It's a rough place to be.
Tubby Muffin being put in a 1v3. Most likely going to opt to save the op.
Good choice.
Yeah, no, this isn't something you want to let go of because the economy isn't exactly... Oh! Tubby Muffin taking out Miggs. They still have some money to work with, but it always feels good to take out somebody who's trying to get at you in the final few moments.
Very much so, and that'll pay off in potentially the next couple of rounds if they're able to take this 7th round or their 8th round. The fact that they took away more of those rifles, they're keeping the T side at relative economic parity to them. So there's a good opportunity that they'll still be able to fight when they get into that conversation about what do we have to do in this particular moment. Don't expect the auto shotty all that often, but that was a good start by Internet, doing a lot of damage and obviously getting that first kill.
That XM, but now they're going for that A take, sending a Molly up into Heaven. Will be counteracted with the smoke grenade, sending out a flash to Tubby Muffin. There's 3 players sitting up in Heaven, trying to wait for an opportunity to push through double flashes, discombobulate them a little bit, and now they have to spread out, because if you concentrate into that one angle, the firing squad into that corner will be relentless. Coming through, tries to get the quick scope, but Mandalore's there, and he's quicker. And even though Akatig does manage to pick up one, it won't be enough as Prod and Miggs, they are too deadly
Seems like Marquette shook whatever it was out of their system. They gave Villanova those first couple of rounds and is back to the form that we saw them for the majority of the last 2 maps. So this is a do or die moment for Villanova, and they're obviously facing this with very little in terms of opportunities, dealing with 2 shotguns and 2 SMGs to support that op.
Now a full commitment to the rush into secret, and no one is actually there waiting for him. Marquette has a nice push into, coming with the auto shotty. It's internet, and Kwanye finds the kill of his own before being taken down. We have another XM fiend. It's gonna be Reshiram, and he's gonna catch him with his pants down and the knife out, looking away from the angle he's got to be taking a peek at. Doesn't really matter though, as Rem and Prod have that bomb down. Oh, he does manage to get a kill, but it's Tubby Muffin with the op shot. This will actually be another round for Villanova with that tag and bag, the XM10. Oh man, I can't believe they were busting that out, but it worked out.
Yeah, I have no criticisms. That was an excellent and clean round. They, played those positions where they had the right level of aggression. The timing worked out for them. They did give up that secret position, but it didn't really matter because they were already, in a position to take that aggression down towards the B site. So that put them in a position to live for one more round. Taking 9 more is still a big ask, but hey, again, we talked about it before. Every round that they can possibly bring is a big thing that they want to see going into the rest of the season.
Jumping up on a marshmallow, it's gonna be Migs. This player's deadly. Let's see what happens. No one is going to peek him. No challenges from the outside. We do have one player maybe taking a peek. I believe it's Akatig. We'll have that first contact through the smoke if he could catch somebody off. But no! Some taggers get into him, but he's going to have to deal with the rest of the squad because Just Rich is pushed over onto the side, waiting with open arms. But Akatig in hut doesn't manage to get that kill off.
I am amazed that Prod got away from that. That just one of those issues of the refrag is just not being there. It's a challenge. But now we're back to a 1v1, and Just Rich and Internet are definitely a matchup that we would like to see, and Internet's definitely the clutch player that we would want to see on the side of Villanova for this situation.
And now the bomb is down in lobby, but Internet, he's swinging all the way around, potentially looking for a flanker, but no flanker is to be found. Just Rich is just as curious to see where his opponent is. He doesn't even know. Moving through hut, didn't pick up the bomb yet. Kind of just waiting, sussing out information, seeing if they could bait out that last player from Villanova. Internet, the one person standing in between the second map loss for Villanova University. Just Rich gonna make that move through hut, gonna look to take this bomb to A, but does he know that Just Rich is moving on? Internet, look down, you hear that trigger, you see him planting the bomb, and you're going to keep your team alive for just a little while longer. You will not get to 16 rounds yet, Marquette.
That was an excellent play by Internet. Normally, you teach people when you have the bomb down, you want to try to stick around that. You want to protect it. You want to use that as an anchor to catch the tees offside. But they knew, obviously, in that situation, 1v1, the element of surprise is on the side of the CTs in that particular scenario. It's a little bit more challenging when you have to, contend with the fact that the bomb sites are so close to each other and it's easy to rotate between the two. But playing in that heaven area, giving you the opportunity to rotate, worked out super well for them. It did wonders for their hopes of continuing on to fight another day.
Internet catching him out. Migs, one of their star players, going down early in the round. Doesn't bode too well for this outlook, but it doesn't even matter because the bomb's already down on B. They made such quick work of getting that plant that it doesn't matter. They had the first blood. They have to figure out how to retake this site without any serious positioning, but Remy falling will make it a tiny bit easier. We don't even know where the defending players are. One is in computer room, but it should be a relatively easy retake. But someone's bursting out of double doors, but Mandalore isn't quick enough for the kill. His Internet is too quick on that flick, and will be able to defuse the bomb because the spray isn't hitting him. Just Rich, once again, has failed to... Oh, wow. Those are some nice final kills. Even though he didn't manage to get it done, those were pretty nice.
Making it hurt for sure. I guess the consolation prize of missing where that bomb was, because it can be a little tricky in the smoke. You try to spread out your shots a little bit, but it's tough. Internet coming alive in those last 2 rounds, making such a huge difference. And now we have the CTs in this position where their economy is not super great. So this is still every inch that they're battling for is a huge accomplishment, just to be able to keep that together for that long.
Bad enough because Reshiram only has a Deagle to work with in such a crucial round as well. I mean, every round is pretty much crucial for Villanova. The game's on the line every time you spawn.
Yes, it's certainly not lost on anybody's, but we've seen him do some really great things with the op. And typically, if you specialize in one of those rifles, you also tend to do pretty well on pistols. So if he can maintain that level of impact, no, who would have expected somebody to be coming from the lower sight in that angle?
I mean, the same thing to ask who would have expected Kwanye to be waiting after they pushed it to secret. Tubby Muffin rotating up into heaven, trying to see what are these guys going to do. It does seem to be that they might move to make a move onto A or B. You know, that bench player has just made it a lot more dangerous. Prod is always in the element of playing ramp, even on attack. Hanging around ramp is their move.
Hey, when you're here, your home family, one of those things made sense in my mind before I said it, but you're absolutely right. Both Prod and Migs can make it anywhere on this map home, and they do such a great job of defending whatever position that they're in and making it an incredible headache for the CTs to even think about where they want to be.
The Olive Garden reference, I get it when you're here, your family, but Kwanye is here, but is he about to help out his family by taking out Migs? And now he's going to pick up one more, it's all to Prod, and he gets the second kill, and he keeps his family alive.
I cannot believe that. He must be really motivated by free salad and breadsticks. This is an amazing moment for Villanova to make to the fact that they're even getting to double digits is something that a few minutes ago we probably would not have expected to be a possibility. But now they're in this position where they have good buys. They have been coming into these great moments of coming together as a family, if we were, to defend these different sites and deal with these retakes. So this is really special to see. And again, still an incredibly tough ask to put together another 5 rounds, but an incredible show for the last part of this, regardless of the outcome.
Absolutely. They really turned it around. Unlimited breadsticks, salad, and clutch rounds coming from Villanova University here. If they're staying alive so well, but are they going to be able to stay alive? Getting wall banged, dinked, but it won't be enough to keep Wanye West down. Oh! Wanye saw that player through Squeaky, decided, no, I'll play for my life right now. The shots coming from Just Rich, they don't connect. So many sprays from long range don't finish off their target. And this mistake is allowing players on Villanova to play their life, and they could still hold on to this round despite being riddled with bullets.
Yeah, it's a Nova turn to make some of those hero plays with low HP, unless Migs and Mandalore decide that that's not what they want to let you do today. So they come back and make that a very difficult place to be.
Yeah, perhaps not. We have one player in Hut while this A take goes down. I think he moved over into... Oh, no! He was still in Hut! He got the bomb down. They know it's right there. One player still in heaven. They have the opportunity to turn this one around, but Migs picking up 2. It's all up to Reshiram. He hasn't been the top performer in this round. He's actually waiting. He's baiting. He's trying to get the kill, but no, the trigger discipline didn't come through. The sprays were off, and the round is lost, as well as both matches for Villanova University. Marquette coming through with 2 sick, solid wins, really demonstrating their strength within this league so far. But Nova, you gotta hand it up. You gotta give it to them. They poured their hearts into that second half.
I think exactly what we were hoping was going to happen happened as we got into those last couple of rounds. You saw Internet come alive and have a huge impact in so many different rounds, and making that difference as they were, battling match point over and over and over again. And then we saw just, what I had suggested earlier was, if you can get to a point where you eliminate those traditional offensive defensive lines on the map and you start to just instill as much chaos as possible, you get those opportunities for those 1v1s, for those weird off angles, and for those opportunities for every single player on the Nova side to make some sort of play. and we saw that for 5 rounds in a row. So it was an excellent choice to change up their strategy to get some of that out there, and every single one of those rounds counts towards where they're going to sit in the season. So really great to see that, and really excited to have the opportunity to continue watching them play.
Of course, the sky's the limit for that squad, but we got to give it up to Marquette doing so well. I mean, just go back to Inferno. What was it? 16-3, I believe.
Yeah,
That was a tough round or a tough map for Nova to face, and it was just because it was such a great play over from Marquette. The aggression, the non-traditional play style coming through from defenders and still holding it down. It was just attack part 2 for them at that point.
absolutely. And I think we're going to end up with the opportunity to interview Miguel from Marquette University in a moment. So we'll throw it to a quick break, get them in there, and make sure that we can understand the mind of the Marquette team as we went through these last 2 maps.
Welcome back, everybody. Before we get into the next game, we got to break it down with one of the players who was really a star of that series. Everybody, please welcome Migs.
Hey, how's it going?
Migs, how are you doing, man? Good to have you here. Things were getting a little bit crazy toward the second half of Nuke. How are you guys feeling after getting such momentum from the side of Nova?
Yeah, I think a lot of it, especially on our T side of Nuke, came down to just losing focus and missing nades. We were getting very aggro, especially halfway through Inferno and through Nuke, where not trying to play disrespectful CS, but we know that aggression is one of our the big parts that make our team work. And then I think just towards the end, like we were just losing a bit of focus. Nades just got missed because of it, and it caused some of our executes to just falter. But I mean, I'm proud of the boys. We were able to put through, get a nice 2-0. And yeah, I mean, we live and we learn from just losing that focus.
Absolutely. And I think we kind of saw across the 2 maps that the few times that Nova did have the opportunity to pull back,
Mhm.
there were either, like you said, a couple missed shots, a couple missed nades, but ultimately in the end, it was an entertaining second map, but not something that was in doubt, we'll say. But one thing I was kind of curious is we had seen in your preseason interviews, you talked about sort of the personnel packages that you developed for your different maps. Can you talk about some of the differences that you made, or the changes, excuse me, that you made going from Inferno into Nuke, and whether or not that sort of changed beyond just the personnel, the people themselves?
Yeah. With our maps, I'm sure you saw that we on Inferno we had Alter on the op, and then when we go into Nuke, we have Remy on the op, and he's also the IGL of Nuke. He's actually the IGL of both those maps, but he just a little bit of our rules change. We bring Prod in. He's one of our biggest anchors anchor players on the maps that he plays. He does a great job at just being able to control those extremities of the map. And I think just the team in general, we go from a very aggressive Inferno where it's kind of like a glorified pug, but it's coordinated, and we've practiced everything. We practice all the stuff, especially on our CT pushes. And then on Nuke, it's a lot more slow execute heavy, where we start. I'm sure you saw the outside smokes. You saw the L smokes when we were going into garage. It's a lot more, take the map control and go that way, and see where we can get it off the util that we use there. It's everything's practiced, everything's for both the maps, whether it's aggro or just sitting back and chilling. It's done for a reason. It's done for a purpose.
I'd like you to develop on that a little bit more. So your teammates, they change roles depending on the map. Like everybody
Mhm.
could swap what they do. How did you come up with that flexibility as a strategy?
So we, for the longest time, I mean, the team, the core five that you saw in Nuke has been together for 2 years now. Alter joined us this year. So a lot of the roles that we go off of is that we have our set five people, or set five players for each of the maps. And the roles, we go back and forth based on just how people are feeling that day, because there's times when I'm opping over Alter or vice versa. And we're able to interchange those roles pretty seamlessly. And it a lot of it goes for just how flexible we can be, and it will throw teams off, because you could watch a demo of ours and see what we do on Inferno, and then you're going to go into the match, okay, we're prepared, we know what's coming at us, and then we have an entire different setup, because instead of Alter opping, I'm opping, and that will throw teams off, because me and him have two completely different styles of opping. So where Alter likes to just get go take a fight and then just fall back. I'm aggressive. I'll be in your face. I'll go peek app stairs into T apps. So there's a lot of mix ups that we have, and there's good cohesion, so it works.
Very much appreciated, and always great to get a little bit of a peek behind the curtain, especially in a performance like that. So, Migs, with that, thank you so very much for all the time. Great to see you playing this week. I can't wait to see your matchup next week, and eventually when we get you against DePaul, as that seems to be the two teams to watch so far. So, thank you again, and good luck in your next set of matches.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Well, that was such a great matchup. I love to get the insight from Migs, and that is a great strategy. Just keeping your opponents guessing all the time. Definitely going to keep an eye on that squad going further. But before we get into the final matchup of the day, we're going to throw it to a quick break. So don't go anywhere, anybody, because the action isn't stopping anytime soon.